Learn English through story. The Cost of Silence. In the picturesque town of Bramblewood, where the streets were lined with oak trees and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers, lived a woman named Claire Hamilton. Claire was a respected journalist for the local newspaper, the Bramblewood Gazette. Known for her integrity and keen investigative skills, she had a reputation for uncovering the truth, no matter how deeply it was buried. Claire's life was comfortable and predictable. She lived in a charming cottage with her husband, Mark, and their 2 children, Sophie and Ethan. Her work brought her satisfaction, and she enjoyed the camaraderie of her close-knit community. Yet, beneath the surface of her idyllic life, Claire harbored a secret that weighed heavily on her conscience. Years earlier, Claire had been involved in a car accident that claimed the life of a young woman named Sarah. Distracted by a text message, Claire had run a red light, causing the fatal collision. In a moment of panic and fear, she fled the scene, rationalizing that no one had seen her. The guilt of her actions gnawed at her, but she had buried the memory deep, hoping it would fade over time. One crisp autumn morning, as the leaves turned brilliant shades of red and gold, Claire received an anonymous letter. The letter contained a single sentence: "I know what you did." Her heart raced as she read the words. Who could have known? And why now, after all these years? The letter was followed by a series of ominous messages, each more threatening than the last. Claire's anxiety grew, and she confided in her husband, Mark. "Someone knows about the accident," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "They're threatening to expose me." Mark was shocked but supportive. "Claire, you need to go to the police. It's the only way to put an end to this." Claire hesitated, fearing the repercussions. Her career, her family's reputation, everything she had worked for could be destroyed. But the threat was real, and she knew she couldn't live under its shadow any longer. The next day, Claire went to the Bramblewood police station and confessed to the hit-and-run accident. She provided all the details she could remember and expressed her deep remorse. The police were initially taken aback, given her standing in the community, but they appreciated her honesty and began an investigation. News of Claire's confession spread quickly through Bramblewood. The community was stunned, and opinions were divided. Some admired her courage to come forward, while others were outraged that she had kept such a dark secret for so long. Claire was placed on administrative leave from her job, pending the outcome of the investigation, and her future seemed uncertain. As the investigation progressed, the police discovered that Sarah, the accident victim, had been a beloved teacher at Bramblewood Elementary School. Her death had left a deep void in the community, and her family had struggled for years with the unanswered questions surrounding the accident. Claire's confession brought a mix of relief and pain to those who had known and loved Sarah. During this time, Claire found herself grappling with the weight of her guilt and the consequences of her actions. She began volunteering at a local support group for people dealing with grief and loss, hoping to find some sense of redemption. There, she met Sarah's parents, David and Helen, who were still mourning the loss of their daughter. At first, David and Helen were cold and distant, struggling to reconcile their anger with Claire's remorse. But as they listened to her story and saw the genuine regret in her eyes, their hearts began to soften. Claire attended every support group meeting, offering her help and slowly building a bridge of trust with Sarah's parents. One evening, after a particularly emotional meeting, David approached Claire. "I don't know if we can ever forgive you completely," he said, his voice trembling. "But I see that you're trying to make amends. Sarah would have wanted us to find some way to heal, and maybe this is a start." Claire felt a glimmer of hope. "I can never undo what I've done," she replied, "but I promise to honor Sarah's memory by helping others and living a life of integrity." Months passed, and Claire's case went to court. She was charged with leaving the scene of an accident and sentenced to community service and probation. The courtroom was filled with members of the Bramblewood community, including Sarah's parents. As Claire stood before the judge, she felt a sense of relief. She had finally faced her darkest secret and was ready to accept the consequences. After the trial, Claire returned to her volunteer work with renewed determination. She started an initiative to promote safe driving and prevent distracted driving accidents. She spoke at schools and community events, sharing her story and the devastating impact of her actions. Her efforts were met with appreciation and support from many, though some still viewed her with skepticism and resentment. One day, while giving a presentation at a local high school, Claire noticed a familiar face in the audience. It was Sarah's younger sister, Emily. After the presentation, Emily approached Claire. "I hated you for what you did," she said bluntly. "But seeing how much you've changed and how hard you're working to make a difference, see a broken bar, it's helped me start to forgive you." Claire's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Emily. That means more to me than you'll ever know." As time went on, Claire continued to rebuild her life. Her relationship with Mark grew stronger, and their children, Sophie and Ethan, admired their mother's courage and commitment to doing what was right. Claire returned to her job at the Bramblewood Gazette, but with a new focus on stories of redemption, community, and the importance of taking responsibility for one's actions. One summer evening, as the sun set over Bramblewood, Claire sat on the porch of her cottage, reflecting on her journey. The anonymous threats that had once filled her with fear had ceased, and she realized that her greatest fear had been facing the truth about herself. By confronting her past and making amends, she had found a path to redemption and a renewed sense of purpose. David and Helen had gradually accepted Claire's efforts to make things right. While their pain would never fully disappear, they had found a measure of peace in knowing that Sarah's memory was being honored through Claire's work. They even joined her in some of her initiatives, finding solace in the idea that their daughter's tragic death could prevent similar accidents in the future. Claire's story became a powerful lesson in Bramblewood, a testament to the importance of honesty, accountability, and the courage to face one's mistakes. It reminded the community that while no one is perfect, the willingness to seek forgiveness and make amends can lead to profound personal growth and healing. In the end, Claire learned that silence and secrecy only serve to deepen the wounds of guilt and regret. It was through her willingness to confront her past and take responsibility for her actions that she was able to find redemption and make a positive impact on those around her. Her journey was a reminder that it is never too late to change, to seek forgiveness, and to strive to become a better person. And so, in the quaint town of Bramblewood, amidst the oak trees and blooming flowers, Claire Hamilton's story became a beacon of hope and a reminder of the enduring power of truth, forgiveness, and the courage to face one's mistakes. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.